Welcome back to Sip the Tally Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to give you our preview for the upcoming playoff game with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. And we'll start off like we normally do, giving stats, and I'll talk about them as we start off. We'll start with the offense. The Ravens offense are first in the NFL. They finished the regular season ranked first in run offense, 187.6 yards per game. They finished seventh in pass offense, 237.4 yards a game. They finished first in total offense, 424.9 yards per game. Let's take a look on the other side and see where the Steelers finished. They finished 11th in run offense with 127 yards per game, 27th in pass offense, 192 yards per game. And they finished 23rd in total offense with 319.4 yards per game. Talk about points per game as far as scoring points, because the name of the game is score points. The Ravens finished third at 30.5. The Steelers finished 16th at 22.4. So on paper, offensively, the Ravens have the better offense statistically throughout the 2024 football season. But we also know this is the playoffs. So a lot of this S word don't matter. And it's a AFC North game too. A lot of this stuff don't matter. Let's talk about defensively. On the defensive side, the Baltimore Ravens finished first in run defense in the 2024 football season, 80.1 yards per game, as opposed to the Steelers, who have a stout run defense themselves. They finished sixth with 98.7. So both teams average under 100 yards rushing, giving up throughout the 2024 football season. Pass defense, the Ravens are 31st. Yes, didn't climb up to mid-20s like I expected, but I am pleased with the actual number going down. Remember about 6 or 7 weeks ago, I sat here and told you guys that the Baltimore Ravens were 32nd in pass defense, giving up 299 yards per game. Well, even though they're 31st, that number is down to 244.1. So that's about 55 yards taken off the average in about 6 to 7 weeks. So I take that as a positive, even though the final number says 31st, and you are what your numbers say you are, 31st, but we've been playing a lot better since week 10. And I'll throw a graphic up right now to show you, like, since week 10 numbers, where they stack up. But let's not forget about the Steelers defense. Again, we talked about their rush defense being ranked 6th. Their pass defense is ranked 25th. So they ain't a whole lot better in pass defense. As far as yards, they're 16 yards better than us in pass defense. That's it. Just 16. Total defense, they're ranked 12th. 326.7 yards per game. The Baltimore Ravens made it to be a top 10 defense yards-wise. The Baltimore Ravens finished 10th in total defense at 324 yards per game. So as bad as we were pass-wise, we finished the season as a top 10 defense, which is crazy. As far as scoring or scores giving up, the Ravens finished 9th at 21.2, and the Steelers are 8th at 20.4. So right there neck and neck as far as scoring. Let's talk about sacks. We want to talk about sacks got and sacks given up. We'll start with the number of sacks the Ravens have gotten throughout the season. They've gotten 54. Now, in my mind, it don't seem like it, but that's second in the NFL, behind the Denver Broncos. 54 sacks. Oweh just got to double digits. Calvin Noah got 12 and a half, if I'm not mistaken. As a team, 54 sacks. Matter BK got 6.5. For the Steelers, who got a sack specialist in TJ Watt, they're only 17th. They have 40. Hopefully, they won't get many more Saturday. As far as sacks given up, now we know both teams' offensive lines have had their struggles throughout the season, have good days, have had bad days. The Baltimore Ravens are third in sacks given up. Now, that number probably would be higher if we didn't have the most dynamic athlete that's probably put on the player cleats playing quarterback. But still, 24 sacks, third in the NFL. commend the offensive line for doing whatever they need to do, at least giving them time to see rushers coming and evade. But shout out to the offensive line for being third and sacks given up throughout the season. And not just the offensive line, because getting the ball out quick, Lamar making plays, guys taking check downs, a lot of that stuff contributes to sacks not giving up. So shout out to all of them, not just the offensive line. As far as the Steelers, they are 24th in sacks given up. They've given up 49. They've given up 49. So when I put these together, because I want to think about sack differential. The Ravens have 54 sacks. They've given up 24. So that's a plus 30 for us in sacks. And when you look at the Steelers side, they've gotten 40 sacks and given up 49. They're minus 9. Defensive line. Handle your business. That's odd. Handle your business. Handle your business. We're plus 30 in the sack number. They're minus 9. Defensive line, linebackers, get busy. That's all I'm going to say. Just get busy. Let's talk about some offensive standouts for the Steelers. Russell Wilson, he's played in 11 games, 214 for 336. He's thrown for 2,482 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio is 16-5. And he played in the last 11 games. The first 6 didn't play. That was Justin Fields. And speaking of Justin Fields, in his 6 games, I don't know how much he'll play. His role will probably be limited, probably be short yardage stuff, do some zone read stuff. But he was 106 for 161 with 1,106 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio was 5-1. Now, when Justin Fields played, they were 4-2. Russ has been a starter, and they started off kind of hot, but they've definitely cooled off. They've lost the last 4, which is one of the reasons why this matchup kind of scares me. Losing 5 straight games, it's crazy. Even though I hope they do, but the odds just don't play in their favor. But I hope they do. All right, more standouts for them. Najee Harris, 263 carries for 1,043 yards and 6 touchdowns. And if I'm not mistaken, as much as we dislike Najee, I think he's had 1,000 yards every year he's been in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can fact check me on that one. And I'll probably fact check myself when I finish recording this. Jaylen Warren also was pretty good out of that backfield, and some tend to think that Warren is better than Najee, but Warren had 511 yards this year with 1 touchdown. George Pickens, who I consider as one of the best receivers in the league right now, when his head is on straight, but you never know when his head is going to be on straight. He had 59 catches, 900 yards, and 3 touchdowns this year. But we all know if George Pickens is locked in, he's a matchup nightmare. 6'3", 6'4", fast, can catch the deep ball, can catch the shallow balls, and take them to the house, run intermediate routes, good quick twitch, good in and out, good route running. He's just a head case. That's it, just a head case. Keep in mind, last week this cat had 0 catches, 0 yards, 3 targets. So hopefully we can keep him in that same box, hopefully. The next best pass catcher to me is Pat Freiermuth. That's the tight end, 65 catches, which is more than Pickens, for 653 yards and 7 touchdowns. Red zone, Freiermuth. Third and short, that's not a run distance, Freiermuth. Lock in on him like people lock in on Mark Andrews. Next up, we're going to flip over to the defensive side, and we'll start with a guy that I really like. I still like him. I don't like the fact that he plays for Pittsburgh, but he's still one of my guys. That and me saying that, I'm not rooting for him. It's Pat Queen. Finished with 129 tackles and 1 sack, and just looking at the stuff from Hard Knocks and whatnot, he is the vocal leader on that team. He's the guy that they look to kind of get them fired up and get them going, even though they have those 2 really good defensive linemen up front. But it seems like Tomlin has gave Queen the, hey, you get these guys fired up, you lead the defense, you do your thing. And I say that based off what I hear on Hard Knocks. And the 2 other guys I just mentioned, defensive linemen, T.J. Watt, 11.5 sacks. And honestly, 11.5 sacks is kind of a down year for him. But I know he's injured as well, too. He's playing, but he's hurt. I'm sorry, he's hurt, not injured. He's playing, but he's hurt. And that showed last week when they played the Bengals. He couldn't do a lot of anything. So hopefully, we can take advantage of that. And then the man in the middle, Cam Hayward, he does it all. Stop the run, get interior pressure on passes. He has 8 sacks as an interior defensive lineman. He's been doing this for a long time. He's one of the most respected DTs in the league. I definitely respect him. And if we can find a way to avoid Watt in the pass game and Cam Hayward in the run game, I think we should be good. On the back end, Minka and Deshaun Elliott, two very good safeties that could be, I ain't gonna say matchup problems, but could give Likely and Mark some trouble. But keep in mind, if those two guys are keyed in on safeties, and then you put Joey Porter on Bateman, whoever that secondary receiver is, you got to eat. And not saying that our guys can't beat those three guys I named. I'm just saying, whoever that second receiver is, if we can't run the ball, it's your time to eat. It's your time to eat. Whoever that is, whether it be Nelly, whether it be Tylan Wallace, whoever, get it. Get busy. So I'm gonna give you my keys to winning the game, because we all know we got offensive. We pretty much got the maybe the MVP, the second best runner in the league. We know we got that tight end with Likely and Andrews. The offensive line's gotten better incrementally over the season. Defensive line is opportunistic. Rose finally back into shape since they've taken Trenton out and putting in Chris Board and Malik. Crash Out Kyle is one of them ones on the back end. Marlon is having an unbelievable season. B. Steve, that's our question mark right there. But hopefully something happens to where he doesn't get exposed, kind of like the Browns were trying to do last week. And so with that being said, this is how I think we win the game. Offensively, don't turn it over. Stay with your identity and be smart. Just be smart. I don't feel like you have to do any trick plays. You don't have to pull anything out crazy. Just stay within yourself and don't turn the ball over. Limit the penalties. And I'm going to just take it all back. Forget that. Forget all that. Two things. Limit the penalties. Don't turn the ball over. You win the game. That's it. And that's offensive. Defensively, no explosives or very little explosive. Make them drive the ball. I think you'll be good. I can't see the Steelers constantly putting together 13, 14 play drives and beating us. I can't see it happening. So with that being said, I think we win. The point spread is kind of huge. I don't like it when the point spread is that big, but I think we win by 10 points. I'm going to go 27-17. We win 27-17. And keep in mind that it's going to be cold as you know what out there, so that's going to play a factor too as well. But I don't think it'll really hurt both teams, because Baltimore's in the north, Pittsburgh's in the north. Both of them used to that weather, so I don't think the cold is going to be like a huge issue, but it could be. And so my prediction for the game is 27-17. So I appreciate you guys for coming out. I have posted a question on the community tab for a Q&A before the game. So I want to go live and do a Q&A with you guys before the game and then lead right into the game. So go to the community tab, put your question up under there so we can have a Q&A session before the game, since it's an 8 o'clock kickoff and we have all day to do stuff. But I appreciate you guys for coming out. This is my Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens Super Wild Card Weekend preview. And peace and love, y'all. See y'all in the next one. Remember, watch party tomorrow. Beat up. Well, later on today, not tomorrow. I'm recording this on Friday. It's actually later on today. Peace, y'all.